Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. The North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.
Welcome to Prairie Mosaic, a patchwork of stories about the people and places that contribute to the arts, culture, and history in our region.
Hi, I'm Bob Dambach.
And I'm Barb Gravel. On this edition, we'll look at the life of a groundbreaking politician, visit a famous homestead, step back in time with the Threshers reunion, and listen to a couple of cowboys play some good old country music.
All careers begin somewhere, and Lawrence Welk started on the family homestead in south central North Dakota. The original red barn stands not only as a marker for the farm, but as a monument to Welk's musical legacy.
More than 20 years after his death, and 30 years after the last performance of the Lawrence Welk television program, The Lawrence Welk Show continues to be one of the most popular programs on public television. All legends begin somewhere. The Lawrence Welk legend and legacy began on the family's homestead farm in south central North Dakota.
1 and 2 and...
The Welk place is a unique but a very common farmstead, as I've seen it in my lifetime. We drive down 83 and then there's a turnoff and it's a gravel road. You drive down the gravel and then you have to take this pathway up to the farm. It's nestled in this little island right on Baumgartner Lake. First thing you see is the barn because it's red and it's the biggest building there.
Well, well, well! What a beautiful audience we have this evening.
The Welk barn is pretty much a typical prairie barn. It's not the Cadillac of barns, it's not a bad barn, it's kind of a typical barn.
Friends, I think you'll enjoy this week's Lawrence Welk Show, featuring some of the wonderful songs from the Broadway musicals.
It's not a real big building, but functional. It has a hay loft where you'd put some hay, and in the wintertime you'd have to feed the cattle, so that was a good place to have it, and good place for the cats to have their kittens up there and things like that.
The Welk homestead and then our activity in restoring the Welk barn is important for several reasons. You know, we don't have any state historic site in the state that deals with homesteading and pioneer farming. What a statement in North Dakota, you know. Well, we need that. We have no state historic site that treats specifically the ethnocultural history of the Germans from Russia, our state's largest cultural group. Well, we need that. We don't have any state historic site in that whole south central North Dakota area, for that matter. And we need that as kind of a linchpin in the historic landscape of German-Russian country there.
Folks, here's a short preview of our show this week. A salute to our senior citizens.
Most of the buildings are in very good shape. There will be some work done on the barn. There's a story to be told there, and I'd hate to lose that structure. So that is probably our biggest challenge. But we want to, you know, put it together so people can actually go in and see things.
Fundamentally, the barn looked pretty good, but it had become unsafe. When we started going in to do the repair work on it, we found that there were some joists that weren't tied to the studs, and I began to get a little nervous at that point. So we took particular care as we were disassembling the loft decking, for instance, to only do a little bit at a time and put it back. You know, let's keep this thing holding together while we're working on it. It's not unsafe anymore.
At the State Historical Society, we have a unique responsibility, and that's historic preservation. And we take that seriously. I mean, we preserve artifacts and items and pictures and people that people have owned, but preservation of buildings and structures, which are important to understanding North Dakota, is one thing that we really focus on. And Welk Homestead provides us with an opportunity to do that.
Good night, sleep tight, and pleasant dreams to you. Here's a wish and a prayer that every dream comes true. And now till we meet again, adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Good night.
Trinity Lutheran Church in Moorhead, Minnesota is home to a pipe organ that has been a special part of the church since its installation in 1957. This magnificent instrument boasts a total of 2,500 pipes and the ability to incorporate sounds of many other instruments. Andrew Steinberg takes us on a tour of this mighty instrument and shares his personal passion for its history.
My name is Andrew Steinberg, and I'm the organist at Trinity Lutheran Church, and I'm the chapel organist at Concordia College, both in Moorhead, Minnesota. Having large instruments in really large churches help to lead singing, which is really their main function in the beginning, was to just help people sing and unify singing in church services. Pipe organs, when they first became popular in churches, were really the most advanced thing around, and they were made large because it was easy to make the mechanics work. And then they found out, wow, we can make a lot more noise, so let's make bigger pipes and bigger instruments, and as long as you can supply enough air to a large enough pipe, you can make a really, really big sound. It's so much fun to play the organ at Trinity because of the presence that it brings into the space. It's a really tall and long building, and there's so much room for all of the great sounds to fill up the room. And it was really exciting as a student when I was still kind of getting my feet about me with the organ to get to play, and just the power that comes with playing the organ. Originally, when the organ was put in, there was a big movement throughout the United States to go back to original looking and sounding instruments, and they just developed that even farther. The console, which is all rosewood, is probably one of the most fun features to watch for organists and non-organists alike, because that's where all the action happens. There's lots of moving of the hands with the multiple keyboards, which are called manuals, and of course playing with your feet. In the center manual, which is called the grate, there are grooves in the middle set of keys from the years of being played on, and it's really kind of exciting to kind of have my fingers fall into those grooves and feel connected to the decades and decades of players that have been at that instrument. Each of the three keyboards own a section of the organ. So the grate, which is the middle keyboard, has its own set of pipes in the right bank on the wall. The swell has that upper left section, and then the positive has the section hanging off of the balcony. So individually, it's like having three instruments in one, and they can all be independent from each other and play by themselves, and they all have families of sounds that belong just to them. And then what happens is, when I want to make them all play together, I can put down some more of those stop tabs, and it will couple the sounds so that I can play on one keyboard and control sounds from any of the three at one time. But I can have all of it together just by hitting a switch. So on the organ, the sounds are grouped into families, and we have principal sounds, flute sounds, reed sounds, and string sounds. When someone says, hey, I heard an organ, you will probably think of what are the principal sounds. And those are normally the big metal pipes that you can easily see, which are in the pedal. Those belong to the principal family. Flute pipes can be both metal and wood, and they're a little more softer and a little more subtle of sound than the principal sound. The string sounds are unique hybrid pipes that are meant to sound more like strings from an orchestra, violins, violas, cellos, and so they bring a thinner, stringy quality for more lush moments. And then you have the reeds, which can range from very hushed sounding reeds all the way to really bombastic trumpet and trombone sounds. The pipe organ doesn't naturally crescendo or decrescendo. When you hit a key, it opens a valve and it lets air through the pipe, so it's a constant volume for that pipe. So the swell shutter pedal, which is controlled by the feet, and it's right above the pedal board where I play the notes with my feet, and as I push the pedal forward, the swell shutters will open, and as I slowly push it closed, the swell shutters will close. And so it's connected by electric wire from my foot all the way up to the top of the swell box to open and close the shutters. So the stop tabs on the organ each tell me what family and what the size of the pipe is. So there's 8-foot flutes and 16-foot flutes and 4-foot reeds. And so I know what to turn on for what sound that I want. And the more of those that I have down, the louder the sound is going to be, because the more pipes I have playing together. And the fewer is when you get the purity of an individual sound. And so the organ has these great big chests that fill with air, and they're waiting for me to press these notes. And then they activate, and as I hit the keys, all of these things open up, and it just lets this air rush out into the pipes.
Nonpartisan League founder A.C. Townley was a critical part of both Minnesota and North Dakota politics. His life is played out through music by Elisa Corinne in her original song titled The Next Big Thing.
For some he was the kingpin of trouble, to others a prophet of the farmer's struggle. A.C. Townley peddled his dreams and went from nothing to someone to nobody. He started farming experimental fields, promised his investors record crop yields. When weather and the market turned investment to loss, he started campaigning for the farmer's cause. His booming voice made heat grates shake, startled discouraged farmers awake. Stumped for votes in Dakota polls like a soapbox preacher, saving souls. Charged farmers $9 each, took post-dated checks from his Ford Model T. A.C. Townley was a salesman with a creed, and his vision formed the Nonpartisan League. The next big thing the farmer needs is a way to make a difference that will actually succeed. Forget what you've seen, this is a new dream. Trust me, I truly believe. It's our biggest chance yet, so step up and place your bet on the Nonpartisan League. The League won across the state, but did Townley embezzle their collection plate? They put him in jail as a slap on a wrist when they caught him telling men not to enlist. He sold insurance when he was released, cause the NPL was almost deceased. Libel suits brought him to his knees, deep in debt from the legal fees. His silver tongue could still cast spells, so he sold millions in empty oil wells. Promised Minnesota economic expansion, but people wouldn't put him in the governor's mansion. He hawked tonics made from dirt, became a faith healer to cure all hurt. Gave one last speech and ran out of luck, crashed his car right into a truck. The next big thing the farmer needs is a way to make a difference that will actually succeed. Forget what you've seen, this is a new dream. Trust me, I truly believe. It's our biggest chance yet, so step up and place your bet on the Nonpartisan League. Vision something bigger than North Dakota, dreams larger than Minnesota. Saw the diamond in the coal, imagined oil in the dust bowl, believed that grain would fill the mill, and utopia was just over the hill. The next big thing the farmer needs is a way to make a difference that will actually succeed. Forget what you've seen, this is a new dream. Trust me, I truly believe it's our biggest chance yet, so step up and place your bet on the non-partisan league.
Since 1954, giant iron machines have been roaring back to life each Labor Day weekend in Rolog, Minnesota. The Western Minnesota Steam Threshers Reunion attracts thousands of visitors each year with its 210 acres of exhibits and demonstrations. Enjoy a glimpse of the sights and sounds of Rolog.
Okay, hello folks, and welcome to the 61st Western Minnesota Steam Threshers Reunion.
This is our 61st show. It was started by a couple families. They just got together on a weekend to thresh some grain with the steam engine, and 61 years later, here we are.
So when you first come into Rolog, you're going to be driving up and you're going to see kind of the cloud of smoke, and it's just kind of a good ambiance for what you're getting yourself into. You're going to smell the coal and sawmills going. You're going to hear the wood being cut.
Nobody has a show like Rolog. There's something here for everybody. If you're a railroad buff, there's trains. If you're a tractor buff, big farming background, there's a lot of different tractors that most people have never heard of.
I tell you, you can't describe it. You got to see it to believe it, because there is so much to do and so many things. It's never the same thing. There's always somebody comes up with something new.
I'll say it's the best bargain in America coming to this show. Just all kinds of action. Well, we got a couple steam shovels running down there right now, and they're just mainly putting on a demonstration of how they did it years ago when they really did do work with them. All we're doing is playing here, like big kids at a big sandbox, you know, but that's what we're trying to do. Lots of little kids really like it. You never see nothing like this. This is the only place in the world you can see 4 steam shovels working at the same time.
Running the engine. There's something that's so simple as you take wood and you build a fire and you boil water to make steam and you get the power out of it. It takes a lot of maintenance, a lot of oiling. We're going to be belting up at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're on the engine at probably 6:30. We're constantly watching our water and then keeping a fire, keeping pressure up so we keep the power for the threshing machine. I think the importance is people seeing how we got to where we are today. This is what started it. This is how you originally got the wheat to make the bread. And that's what I think is what's important. It's keeping the history alive.
If you follow in his line, he will always guide you right. Can't you hear the blessed Savior calling you?
I'm 4th generation, so my great-grandpa was out here, I believe, at the first show. Then my grandpa and my dad, and now me. You know, when I was younger, it was just a time for me and my dad to spend time together, and that was always great, and that really hooked me from the start. You know, you get up in the morning and smell of smoke, you know, coming out of the engines, that gets to me, and you know, you just learn how much harder things were when they had to do it this way. We do it for fun, but to think having to do this, you know, from sunrise to sunset every day, that would take a toll on you, I know. I expect to be coming out here my whole life. If that means I'm rolling around in an electric wheelchair, I guess that's what I'll do. But the sights, the smells, you can't beat it.
Well, it's always an exciting time for a kid to ride a train. The train here at Rolog is to provide an experience for people to ride on the train free, without charge, as many times as they want. A lot of people have never ridden on a train before, especially the little kids. They really love the train.
The engine, the family atmosphere, it's really group puts this together, and it takes an army to keep it going.
There's a good community of people out here, and that's the heart of things. The machinery and the equipment is fantastic, fun, good to work with, but the community of people is what makes it.
I think watching people in their enjoyment and watching it being run, and then teaching those who want to be up on the engines or, you know, just learning about stuff, it really kind of fuels the fire to keep it going.
I help out at the print shop, Pioneer Press, for the last 15 years. We gather the news and then put it together and then print the newspaper for the weekend. And we try to get younger people to come in and work with us to keep the tradition going. Well, it's preserving history, and that's what you have to do.
I'm a huge history geek. I love learning about the history of America and how we got to where we are today, and farming is a huge part of that. This is one of the largest steam shows in the entire country. People come from all over the world just to see it.
It is a reunion. Most of us can say, we've got friends that we only see 3 or 4 days a year, and that's it.
It's definitely a labor of love, and it's a piece of history. I mean, the equipment that you see around here is what helped construct a lot of our infrastructure.
It's a great place. It's a great group of over 5,000 members, and it just shows what hard work and dedication can do.
That's what makes it special right there. You see it, you can hear it. When the steam engines are running, you can feel it in your chest. So it's a real multi-sensory thing, and you don't get that anywhere else. I've been to museums where they've had a static display of a steam engine. It's lifeless. And Rolog's full of life.
Pop Wagner hails from St. Paul, Minnesota, and has quite a reputation throughout the Midwest as a country singer and fiddler. Joined by fellow cowboy Bob Bovee, the two perform some old-style country western tunes.
Well, hi folks, I'm Pop Wagner, and it sure is a pleasure to be here with my old pal Bob Bovee, who I met back in 1971, and we've been good buddies ever since, played a lot of music and covered a lot of miles together. Now, my love for folk music and this old-time hoedown stuff that we're playing today goes way back. When I grew up, my parents had a great record collection and just sunk in and stuck, and I've been a follower ever since. For years we had rode on the prairie, working on this ranch and that. We ate from the owner's chuck wagon at homes where we took off our hat. We both loved the smell of the cactus, and the heat never bothered at all. We waited in deepest excitement for the roundup to come in the fall. Ki, ki-oh, watch the little dogies all day. Ki, ki-oh, watch the little fellers at play. At last it was time to be packing to make the long trip to Cheyenne. Each year we would always look forward to pick out the best riding man. The bleachers were filled up with people to see all the boys do their stuff. The one that I rode was a piker. My partner drew one that was tough. Ki, ki-oh, watch the little dogies all day. Ki, ki-oh, watch the little fellers that play. He threw him sky high from the saddle. He came down and lit on his side. He never got up from that corral. With his boots on, my partner had died. So now I'm alone on the prairie, and the teardrops are falling like rain. I miss him a lot since he's gone on. His memory is all that remains. Ki-yi, ki-yo, watch the little dogies all day. Ki-yi, ki-yo, watch the little fellers at play.
If you know of an artist, a topic, or an organization in our region that you think might make for an interesting segment, please contact us at prairiemosaic@prairiepublic.org. I'm Barb Gravel.
And I'm Bob Dambach. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Prairie Mosaic.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.